Welcome back to TBRD. This week on the vlog, I'm going to be taking a look at Quickshifters. And if you have a BMW, what they call Gear Shift Assist Pro. I'm not going to get into too many of the technical details of the mechanical side of how it works, but we'll talk about that briefly. And then I'm going to show you actually how it performs, which, spoiler alert, really well. But there's a couple of nuances that I think are worth going over, and I had a question on a previous vlog if I would cover the topic, so I thought, why not do it on this beautiful ride to work? All right, let's get on with it. Gear Shift Assist Pro, or Quickshifters, depending on what make you are riding, are all more or less doing the same thing, although some manufacturers accomplish that a little bit differently. So what's going to happen is your gear shift lever is going to have a sensor on it, and it's going to sense when the gear is changing, and then it's going to manage the load, if you will, on the transmission. It's going to reduce that, and it can be accomplished in a number of ways, either through cutting ignition, cutting fuel, just depends on how your manufacturer tries to accomplish it. But what it allows is for the gear to shift seamlessly for you without having to activate the clutch. So, how does it work? It works really, really well on these BMWs. And a couple of things you need to keep in mind when you are quick shifting, if you will, up through gears. You need to keep a steady throttle, essentially accelerating. So we're going to do it here in fourth gear. I'm going to accelerate, and then no clutch. You can just hear it, boom, it just goes right into gear. And then if I want to quick shift down, as this bike is equipped with a quick shifter up and down, I close the throttle, I push down. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Woo, that's dangerous, holy cow. I don't know if that picked up, but I'm in traffic looking at this beautiful sunrise and always scanning the road, and there was a road sign sticking about 4 feet out into the lane, which would make for a bad day in a car, but it would make for an exceptionally bad day on a motorcycle. I guess that'd be like high-speed modern day jousting. Anyways, so as I was saying, this bike's equipped with a quick shift up and down. So if you want to shift down, you just have to make sure that your throttle is closed all the way. So we're going to see that in just a second here. As we come up to this old toll facility, we'll have to slow down. Alright, so as we slow, throttle's all the way shut, boom, I just click down the gear. Do it again. Now, when you do that, it's going to auto blip and rev match for you a little bit. And on these BMWs, you can quick shift down really anywhere, so long as the RPMs do not, basically the gear you're going into, if your RPMs are too high for the gear you're going to engage, the system will lock you out. So that obviously you don't lock up that rear wheel or pin your engine on a red line. So a lot of folks have a hard time with quick shifters, or I shouldn't say have a hard time with them, but they don't want them. They tell you that the reason they're riding a bike is the joy of controlling the machine, doing the shifting yourself, heel towing, if you will, on the bike, or rev matching. And I understand that. It is a great feeling when you just hit those shifts perfectly, especially when you're coming down and you get that blip just right and do the perfect gear shift. But having a bike equipped with it is absolutely fantastic. You can do about 70 to 80%, according to BMW, of all your gear changes with the quick shifter, and I have found that to be the case. A couple of advantages to it is it's absolutely seamless. So if you are two up, it is probably your preferred method in terms of smooth shifting. Just did it there, and you can see, another thing I'm going to talk about is you don't have to be hammering on the bike to do it. This Gear Shift Assist Pro, as long as you're accelerating, whether it's kind of hard, really hard, or just moderately, you can shift with it, and it's going to shift smoothly just about every single time, no matter what gear you are in. Now, First into second is a slightly longer throw, and BMW will tell you if you are in a very low gear, so first and sometimes second, but if you're in first or second and you're at a very high RPM and you kind of have a moderate to like level throttle application, that can cause problems. So that's one area where if you're in first gear and you kind of wound it out and plateaued a little bit, it's not going to like that as much. It'll still shift, but it is possible that it could lock it out, and you won't get a successful gear shift. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. The shift action on the lever, you need to be somewhat precise with it. So I've talked to some folks who say, you know, I don't think mine works right. And what I have found, and I can tell you from personal experiences, it's usually the rider. If you've been riding, like most of us, without a gear shift assist, well, I guess these days a lot of bikes are starting to come equipped with them. But if you're on your first bike with a Quickshifter, one of the things here, we're going to accelerate slowly. It's very slow acceleration, second and the third, boom, no clutch. Third and the fourth, no clutch. If you are, as I was saying, if you're on your first bike with a Quickshifter, you're so used to closing the throttle when you shift or slightly rolling off it and doing a quick gear change that there's a lot of muscle memory there to overcome. So like my brother, for instance, you know, I've talked a lot about him on, we've done some vlogs riding with him. He's an amazing rider, but there's like a mental block there. You know, when he rides with the Quickshift, he'll tell you he doesn't really prefer it. And it takes a little bit of adjustment in getting used to, but it is fantastic. Here we go. Once you get used to it, it's just so smooth. But to make it work effectively, just be direct with your shifts. You got to make sure if you're upshifting, keep your throttle application consistent. So what that means is you don't want to adjust how hard you are on the throttle or roll off of it while you're trying to quick shift, or else it's going to lock you out. And 9 times out of 10, if it's not working correctly, that's what's happening. Your subconscious is slightly rolling off that throttle. So make sure you have a consistent throttle application, and then just give, you can see in this video, I put a third camera down by my shifter, so hopefully that's picking up. You can see I'm just pretty direct with my shifts. You don't have to kick it any harder. You just have to be direct and leave the pressure on the lever until you hear the gear engage, whether you're going up or down. And you will find that that is pretty quick. When you're coming down, make sure you are all the way off the throttle. If you have the throttle even slightly open, it's probably not going to engage the gear, and you're not going to get a successful shift. I have found if you are kind of on the throttle, sometimes it'll shift, but it can be a little herky-jerky. Another area you're going to have problems kind of sometimes in your subconscious is, and I've done this, and if you want a real jerky ride, here's a mistake that you might make. When you're going down, I'm so used to blipping my throttle that I went to blip one time while I was also downshifting, which had the effect of opening the throttle. I was able to get it downshifted, but then the blip just jerked it once it went into gear. So it's just these subtle adjustments you have to get used to as a rider, because all of your muscle memory is used to either blipping when you're going down or rolling off the throttle as you're coming up. Now, some people say, hey, I can shift up on my bike without a quick shifter, no problems, without using the clutch. I was able to do this personally. My Triumph Trophy was the best bike for it. It was so smooth. You could easily do clutchless upshifting and really even downshifting with a little bit of work without a clutch on that bike. And you can do that on most bikes, but I will tell you that your quick shifter is going to be much more efficient and much better on your transmission and engine than doing a clutchless up or down shift without a quick shifter. And that's because when they're tuned correctly, which any modern day bike, I know with this BMW it is tuned absolutely perfectly, it is just easier on your components than if you are clutchless shifting without a quick shifter. Now, as far as durability goes, there's a lot of rumors on the internet and folks saying, hey, you know, my dealer tech told me. If you talk to anybody reputable at your dealer, if you're a BMW owner, they're going to tell you straight up, if they've gone to the BMW sessions or trainers, there is no excessive wear or tear on your transmission or your engine using this Quickshifter. You can go ahead and use it at will, as much or as little as you want. As long as you are following the procedures for keeping the throttle application on and consistent when you're shifting up and closed when you're shifting down, you're going to be able to ride this for the entirety. The fact of the matter is, if it's able to complete the shift up or down, it's not a problem. Not as far as the mechanics on your transmission or your engine. So I say shift at will with it. It is a lot of fun. Alright, so as we get off the interstate here, we're going to do a couple of downshifts, all clutchless. Not going to hear much of a blip on this one because of my speed and engine speed, but 6th into 5th, 5th into 4th, all clutchless. Hands off the clutch. We're going to do it again, 4th and 3rd. You should be able to hear that auto blip. You'll hear it this time. I'll rev it up a little bit. 3rd into 2nd. Hand off. Yeah, there it goes. You can even do 2nd into 1st. Let's take a listen. There it is. Perfectly smooth. The blip function's really great. So let's wait here for this light to change. I would just say to all those folks who are knocking it, saying it's not really truly driving, or this is why I ride a bike, if you get a bike, try it out. You know, the beauty of it is you don't have to use it. I can still shift just like anybody else, and I still do it sometimes, as you said, because it's as they say, because it's a lot of fun. But the Quickshifter is also a lot of fun. It's super functional. So what we're going to do here when this light changes is we'll clear this van and we'll do a hard acceleration with the Quickshifter. Alright, here we go. We'll clear this van and we'll do a couple of hard gear changes. So listen to 1st and the 2nd. There it goes. Alright. So just butter smooth going up there. So you can see under hard acceleration it performs flawlessly. Let's slow down real quick. Those are all quick shifts down. So let's do some moderate acceleration. 2nd into 3rd, butter smooth, and I'm barely fractionally on the throttle. 3rd into 4th, 4th into 5th. So really smooth under hard acceleration, really smooth under very slow moderate acceleration. And as a reminder, you're just keeping that throttle application consistent through that gear change. If you're on the gas hard, stay on it hard and just keep nice constant pressure on that shift lever. As you're coming down, hand off, throttle closed, shifted down 3 times there, very smooth. So just be precise with your foot movement. Keep the pressure on the lever till you hear the gear change. Once it changes, you need to allow that lever to go back into its natural resting or neutral position before you can kick it up into another gear or down into another gear. So here comes a very slow change, 2nd into 3rd. And you'll see my foot kind of rolled off of just rolled off of the shift lever, and then it's ready to be shifted again, whether that is up or down. Alright, 3rd into 2nd. We gotta watch these turns. All this salt is out on the road. Alright, one more time. We'll do a moderate acceleration. 2nd into 3rd. 3rd into 4th. 4th into 5th. Smooth every time. So there you have it. That is your Gear Shift Assist Pro or Quickshifter. I love it. I think it's a fantastic feature. Especially love the auto blip going down. It sounds fantastic. I hope that this vlog was informative and helpful if it's a topic you are interested in. I appreciate your support. As always, leave me a comment. I'll make sure to get back to you. If you are so inclined, please consider hitting that notification bell and subscription button. Your support is greatly appreciated. And as I like to say, avoid the saying in the road. No, that's not what I like to say. As I like to say, until next time, keep the throttle back, the rubber down, and enjoy the ride.